What up? A little check-in. Hi, Rodney. I wonder if I'm ever going to watch these videos and look back and realize I'm talking to myself. When I think about like where I was like a year ago, or where I've been in the last 6 years, really, how I rate to myself today, how I think, how I hold back, how I pause. Every one of these seasons over this last year and what is it, like 8 months or whatever, has grown me a little bit. This last one grew me. Like, I've grown quite a bit, substantially, like on how I communicate with people and how I talk to myself. And you know, I wonder what my future holds in terms of how I communicate. I wonder how my future holds in terms of if I'm feeling uncomfortable, how I'll respond. I saw something really amazing and I really liked it. This guy had this board up, and on the board it showed, you know, a situation, like somebody not texting back, or somebody saying something you know, sideways to you, or you know, just something that would make like me feel uncomfortable in the past or even today. And he said, okay, so they don't text back, and then like next to it is thought, and then next to it is feeling, and then next to it is reaction. And I'm really glad I saw that. I'm trying my best to not say, okay, I'm out of a season, I'm in a new season. I'm really trying to say that, like, how about life is just one big season, and in those seasons there are different storms, and at least try to apply that today. And what'll happen is, and this has happened like my whole life, even when I was younger, I'll get information, or I won't get the information I want. I'm an addict, so if I don't get it fast enough, then all of a sudden the thoughts start creating a story. I have a creative imagination. It's almost a fucking curse. It depends. Like, my imagination's really good in my job. It's really good when I'm playing with my kids. It's not so great when it comes to other things. And I've really been good about when that's happening, reflecting, and that's by identifying how I'm feeling about a situation, and then going back and looking at evidence, you know, and it, you know, like okay, so what, you know, like just the who, what, when, where, why, or what was said, or what's been said, and being able to then identify before I react, because my whole life I've just reacted. It's something happens, the thought turns into a fucking story, and I can think up that story really quick, and then boom, my feeling is based upon the story that I created. And in the past, I have sent messages, or I have said things to people where it just threw them off. They were thrown off guard. And so this season of my life, these last, well, 4 months now, going on 4 months, I've really been good about not doing that, because I don't want to be like that. I want to change. And the only way I'm realizing that if I really want to change is, like, how bad do I want it? That's like anything. Like, when I wanted to get clean, how bad, what am I willing to do to get clean? Not worrying so much if the end result will go in my favor, which has happened quite a bit in the past. Just learning to sit with whatever and trust in God and surrender to whatever uncomfortable feeling. So I'm able to, because I'll go through these ups and downs where I'm able to sit with it so much better now. And like even in these videos, like if you were to go back a year, so just scroll till you get to a year, and hear how I'm working through things, because I mean this shit has been an open book. Hear how I'm working through things. I work through them differently today than I have in the last year and 3 months. And you know, it all is attributed to all of that work. But I really like how, you know, one of the things I don't like to say is this go around, but I'm going to use that because there's this go around of this version of 2 years clean or getting to 2 years clean versus before. And I got hit up by an editing company, publishing company or whatever, and they were like, hey, spoke to you a year ago. You told us to reach out to you about this time. Where are we at in that? And I let them know where I'm at, let them know I need about 4 more months. And then, you know, we set reminders. They gave me some information. They gave me the email to call or to reach out and the phone number to call. And I was looking through my notes, and there's 897 entries. So I was kind of like fishing through it last night. And I was like, man, that's a big ass book. I don't want that. Like, I don't want, and I thought like at first it was going to be like from that first day all the way through. So a year clean, and then the relapse, and then the writings in the relapse, and then this. But this one is 226 pages or entries. But then I looked and saw some of the sections that I put together when I was trying to stay clean. And I also looked at, because I wrote for a year straight, and then I stopped writing, and then I decided I would write leading up to the 2-year marker. So I've got that, and then I've got these writings of how I was trying to like motivate myself to get clean again. And I think I'm just going to compile that leading up to the 2-year marker, that 2-year entry that I put in, and then the rest of the stuff. And that's probably what I'm going to put out. So I think that's where I'm at with that. I just see how that goes. And then if that does anything, then I have that first thing that I can put out depending on what happens. Anyways, so I'm just kind of putting this out in the open, talking about it out loud. Because I don't want to write about this and then it's an entry. Anyways, but that thought process that I have, where I've got this whole story in my head, you know, it usually it's a person. It's not necessarily like the monies anymore. It's usually a person, you know, and it's wonderful how I'm starting to progress in my thinking. Like, I am proud of myself on how I'm starting to sit and write, identify how I'm feeling, and question those feelings. Question them. I've also been watching stuff on how to meditate properly. There's a guy named Joe Dispenza. So plug to Joe Dispenza. I don't know if I should have used quotation marks, but plug to that guy about how to breathe and how to change your feelings. If you're going from a state of like uncomfortability to you first tell your brain, I don't want to feel this right now. So then you have to choose a different emotion to feel. You know, okay, so if I don't want to feel this because I'm going to feel an emotion, I'm going to feel a certain way, what do I want to feel? And then identify what I want to feel, and then just start practicing that. I've never done that before. Usually I just go straight to gratitudes. But a lot of the times I can't go from a place of uncomfortability or anger or resentment and go right to gratitude. I have to like use acceptance, surrender, all that stuff. But I like the idea, so I'm going to give this a shot, and we'll see how this works. I like the idea because I'm already, like, even right now, I'm already feeling a little bit different, you know, and I don't feel uncomfortable right now. But being able to write down, okay, and I'll start sometimes with, hey Rodney, what's going on with you? Like, when I'm talking to a friend and they look uncomfortable or they look sad, I usually ask them, hey, are you okay? What's going on with you? Why don't I ask myself that question? Well, I think the answer is because I already know. But if I'm going to build this relationship with myself that I'm trying to develop, then I can ask myself that question and not feel like I'm crazy. It's a lot more crazier for me to just come up with a scene in my head and then roll with it. And how am I going to talk to anybody if I've got that story already? Like, and it's like, it's almost like you create, like I create this story in my head and now it's gold. And if I don't work through that, if I don't understand what's going on there, then I'm coming from a place of either sadness or anger or regret or, you know, maybe less than. And I'm not going to be able to respond the way I need to be, which is confident and okay with myself. And one of the practices I like to do is ask myself, okay, are you replacing God with this particular situation? Because if you're feeling worried, you are. And I wrote that today. And it's true. Like, I've trusted God this far with everything. And so there's certain areas in my life that have not been so unmanageable now. Like my finances. Sure, I'm not quite there. But I don't worry like I was. Like, if you go back a year in this shit, I'm sitting here stressing over my bills, stressing over my car deals, stressing over all of that. And I just put it all on God, and I listened to those things that said, okay, call this person, okay, do this thing, okay, sign this thing, and it all just worked out. So I know that by trusting in God in that area of my life, it's working out. And so I don't worry about it. But there are areas in my life where there are insecurities, and I'm now starting to address them, and I never have. What I did is I just said, oh, I have insecurities. It's almost like saying, well, okay, I do this, that's who I am. No, it's not. It's something that needs to be addressed. And the only way to do that is to be willing to change and ask myself, not why, when, what, and all that other stuff. And so I'm in a season of my life where, like, this is that important to me. Right? And then also understanding that the whatever is that's important to me is worth the change, but the most important thing is the change. So no matter what the result is, the change happens, and I'll thank myself for it in the long run. You know, it'd be like, let's say I wanted somebody to come over to my house, but in order for them to come over to my house, I've got to square away certain things of my house. And maybe I've just been so overwhelmed and I've had so much shit going on that I haven't really handled it. But then the whole idea of this might happen inspires me to do it, and then looking at the future saying, okay, here's the one time you can say, what if that doesn't actually pan out? Are you going to be upset that you got it squared away? No. So then the motivation is still there. But I don't want to, so not worrying about the end result, just knowing that needs to be done, and having it happen gives me the excitement that, okay, I'm motivated to do this. Like, I made this commitment that I'll do it 15 minutes each day. And then on my days off, I'll do it even more. So, and saying it out loud, that way I can have a conversation with whoever I made that commitment to and be like, oh yeah, I did the thing for 15 minutes. And that's actually helping me. It's helping me. But back to what I was saying earlier, because I don't want to make this fucking 20 minutes long. Being able to identify the feeling and maybe going into that before I come up with the story, or as I'm creating the story, being like, okay, wait, hold on. It's that hold on that I never used to do. And then all of a sudden, like my ex-wife or my ex-fiance, you know, I just come home and just, well, yeah. So I don't find myself doing that, and I'm really grateful that I'm in a season of my life that's giving me the ability to change that. But I, you know, like, I was talking to a friend today, and like our minds are fucked up, man. It's really bad, you know. Like it's shitty that like, but I've been thinking this way my whole life, and so I'm trying to break that now. Break that pattern. And how do I break patterns? By creating routines. And the beginning stages of the routines fucking suck. But the end result always is better. And it's a delayed gratification in doing that. Like where I was 5 months ago to where I am today, the uncomfortability still comes in. The storylines still start happening. But the way I handle it is so much better. And a lot of the times I'm just like, oh, wait, hold on. God, that void, I need you back in there so I can love God the most, and God will provide me the wants. Like he gives me the wants and says, okay, how do you want to handle this? And I say, I got this. But I don't, because I needed him to give me the want. But he's giving me the ability with free will to decide how I'm going to handle that want. And usually, mostly, almost all of my whole life, and I only say almost because now I'm not doing it as much, I'm able to say, well, I need you through that to help me with that want. And so that's where I'm at. Like that's some of the stuff that was going on today. I just want to kind of check in and share that, and you know, and that's where I'm at. So another check-in. Rodney, you're doing fucking amazing. You're doing wonderful. You're about to go on vacation, a real vacation. You haven't had a vacation in a long time. You're doing amazing, dude. So just keep up the good work, bro. Keep it up. Go through the thing. Get through the things. And learn and change. And adjust. And it's all going to be okay. All right. Well, this was almost 20 minutes. But whatever. I'm out.